With looming budget cuts that could severely affect the military's readiness and personnel levels, another topic has come to the forefront of possibly influences these issues. Should women be allowed to serve in combat positions? About 17% of Marine Corps men who were planning to stay in the service said they would leave if women were allowed to volunteer for military combat positions, and 22% said they would leave if women were forced into military combat positions. There are several reasons that could influence people's opinions on the subject, like the differences between men and women's physical abilities. For others, a big concern is men may do things and go out of their way to protect a woman, and that may jeopardize the mission. Another major concern is the increased number of sexual assault cases and allegations for both female and the male perspective. Due to the potential problems that could arise, women should not be put into military combat positions. First concern with sending women into combat is a man jeopardizing the mission, giving up information, or unnecessarily endangering the people around him in order to protect a woman. 2 bodies of soldiers were found in Iraq in 2006 after apparently being tortured to death by insurgents. Brutal video evidence of a beheading was captured by a contractor and was broadcast in 2004. Women are just as likely to be tortured or raped by their captors compared to men. Because of this likelihood, men would be more apt to give up information to avoid the possibility of women being tortured. Retired Navy Commander Robert Flynn said, "They might go out of their way to do something they might not do otherwise to relieve the situation. I couldn't watch it happen, a woman being tortured. It would be unbearable for many men to see this, and there would be a good chance that they'd be more willing to give up information." With women being put into combat positions, there's a high risk that a man will give up military secrets quicker, endangering the missions and put others in danger. Another concern with women in combat positions is the possibility of women being sexually assaulted. Women in the military were asked what their biggest concern was with joining in combat positions, and they said being sexually assaulted. And men were asked the same question, and they answered being falsely accused of sexual assault or watching a woman be tortured. Representative Jane Herman said, "A woman who signs up to protect her country is more likely to be raped by a fellow soldier than killed by enemy fire. A woman being captured and sexually assaulted is something many people fear when women go into combat positions, but many people do not realize the number of sexual assault cases filed every year within the military alone. For example, in the U.S. Air Force, there was 614 sexual assault cases filed in 2011. In 2012, there's a 30% increase to 796 cases filed. The appalling number of sexual assault cases is only going to increase with women living in close quarters with men overseas in combat positions. Exposing women to an unnecessary risk should be avoided. The biggest concern with sending women into military combat positions is the physical differences between men and women. Although people may think women are as strong as men and could meet the same physical standards as men, this is false. A study shows that the average man has twice the upper body strength as the average woman. When the prohibition of women in combat was repealed for a second time in 1993, the Secretary of Defense was prepared to make performance standards gender neutral so there could be more military positions open to women. But he did not ignore the results of the previous study. He required the amount of weight needed to be lifted in order to qualify for combat positions to be lessened in order to make it gender neutral. He did this because many women would not be able to qualify for combat positions at this weight. The weight of the equipment required in combat did not change, but the qualifications in order to carry this equipment in combat was not lowered, which doesn't make any sense. Another study took place to show that women did not have enough nearly upper body strength to operate in combat positions. Women in the Marine Corps were tested to see how far they could throw a hand grenade. Results showed that only half of the women could throw a hand grenade far enough away from themselves without seriously injuring themselves or killing themselves. These results prove that women in general are not physically as strong or capable as a man is. Brian Mitchell commented, "Women in general are less aggressive, less physical daring, and less inclined to take necessary risks than men are." Besides the differences in physical abilities, Mitchell recognized the differences in character traits necessary to make a combat soldier, thus highlighting that women have no place in the military combat positions. Although the war in Afghanistan is winding down for the United States, the global war on terrorism is nowhere near an end. The opinions of those types of enemies against women are brutal and will not be swayed by worldly influences. men possibly risking their lives or endangering their mission in order to protect a woman, the growing number of sexual assault cases within the military, and the fact that a woman's physical abilities will never match a man's physical abilities are major concerns. Due to the potential problems that could arise, women should not be put into military combat positions. Thank you for listening to my speech.